welcome back to another segment. My name is Michael Labella with M-Lab Golf. I'm here at Denton Country Club with Casey Barbie. And today, we're going to talk about that word that shall not be named, right? Kind of like Voldemort and Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's El Hazel and Shankopotamus. It's
the old Shanks.
The old Shanks.
Yeah, we see this a lot. And there's three main reasons that we've talked about that we feel this shank is happening. So reason number one, imbalance. It could be imbalance throughout the swing or imbalance from the start. Most of the time, I see it from the start, throwing off the entire sequence of the swing. Right. And that would be starting with your weight in your heels. So my toes, I can wiggle those really well. I get up to the top, and maybe I load here, and I can still do this with my toes. Then the body wants to balance itself out. So in order to do that, it's trying to get back to the center, but there's so much momentum in the swing, and your mass is over it. You just fall towards the ball, and there we go, right off the hosel. It's a fun one. What's the next one we have, Casey?
So we have the imbalance, and then we're also going to have hand path. So hand path tends to be moving towards the golf ball. A lot of players will get that hand path on that takeaway moving. They'll start to get that hand path moving too far inside on the takeaway, and then the only thing they can really start to do is redirect that hand path moving out, whether it's over the top or even far from the inside moving out to the golf ball. And so when that hand path starts to move out, the only thing they can do, if I take this golf club and I set up to the ball and I move my hand path towards the ball, we notice that there's no choice but to move towards the hosel. And we're always not going to want to whiff the golf ball, so the only thing to really hit it with is the dreaded hosel.
Yes.
Right? So.
And would you say that that's an occurrence from the hands being too low and too deep at the top of the swing?
Yeah, so too low, too deep, everything behind us, and so where the only way for a player to really get it out is to push that hand path back out in front of them. So otherwise, I mean, if they bring that club in behind them this way, they're not going to hit it, and that's not an athletic motion, as athletic as we can still be from that position. So,
and what's our third one?
And so the third that we were talking about earlier is going to be, people talk about trying to get shaft lean at impact, and I would say that that's been some kryptonite to a lot of golfers, is they see these great players with the handle forward, and so they try to manipulate the hands at impact versus allowing it to be a natural motion. So if you go ahead and show me what hand pass should feel like or the shaft lean at impact.
From this view, the wrong position would be driving these hands, trying to get to the ball, like, yeah, I got to get here, I got to force the hands forward.
Right.
From this point of view, from the down the line view, it looks like the hands are very high and up like this. It's almost like we're driving the toe in the ground, right?
Right.
Now, the proper position from down the line would be more here. It's more of a natural position. The hands are a little bit lower. The one thing is you never see a good player on tour, maybe a few outliers, but you never see a good player on tour way up here with the hands. Usually about 6 to 8 degrees of shaft lean. Now, at impact, the good way, right here. Just letting that release through impact versus hold it off. Now, when a player takes a divot on tour, sometimes the divot slows the club head down and the hands continue, so it looks like they have more shaft lean. Be careful what you watch on TV. Work with a coach to get you into proper positions.
Yeah, still photography is poison for those that try to mimic golf swings. So, but our goal is to make the natural pivot, and as my handle is forward, I'm actually just rotating with it, so I'm a little bit tighter with that hand path, going back to hand path, what we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
Exactly, and with all three of these, we all have the same outcomes. We have thin shots, we have shanks, and then we're trying to manipulate the club in a way to make that not happen. So we have one drill for each category we're going to go through to help you stop these dreaded shanks. All right, so drill number one, correcting hand path. Simple drill here that Casey brought to my attention. It's called jump the rail. So I'm going to test this one out. So typically, if my golf ball's on this side of the rail and I'm set up to that golf ball, the person with the hand path that's moving incorrectly is going out this way.
Correct. They're crossing over the rail from the outside, and so that brings in nothing but the hosel.
And in order to correct that, we're going to start on the outside and pretend our golf ball is here. We'll take it to the top, and we'll hop the rail to the inside. We'll start to feel this hand path move a little bit more under.
Correct.
Now you're getting a 2-for-1 special. You're getting rid of your slice motion, and you're correcting the shanks. So now instead of going to this over-the-top motion, you're now going underneath, making that little loop that people talk about to help that club shallow a little bit. So I'm going to start on top. I'll go up. I'm under.
So as you can tell, we started on the outside of the alignment stick, and in transition on the downswing, he started to move his hand path closer to his body, which brought the center of the club face towards the golf ball.
All right, so drill number 2. This is the Casey special. What not to do with the hands through impact, and that is driving them and really forcing the handle through.
So you'll usually see, what I was saying earlier is you have the alignment stick off the left side on the grip end, and people are trying not to let it hit them, and so therefore their hands start to go out too far away from their body. Okay, trying not to let that alignment stick hit them, and that just causes the hand path to get a little bit too far sometimes. So we got to be careful when we're doing stuff like that to make sure that we're not trying to replicate an image or just one part in the swing at impact, but letting it be more dynamic in the sense that we're releasing the golf club. You'll have a little bit of shaft lean at impact, not much, but that's the natural releasing of the hands. And then as you continue to move post-impact, you'll notice that that handle is not continuing to move in front of the club head, but the club head is actually starting to slightly overtake the hands into a good post-impact position here. Okay, so I have this shag bag here, and what we want to feel like on the downswing is, instead of trying to manipulate the hand path, trying to get that shaft lean, we want to feel as we're coming in impact, we're starting to line up the shaft and the handle a little bit more in line there at impact. Impact position, feeling a little bit more as if this handle is working more up versus down into the golf ball. Okay, so handle's working a little bit more up as we're coming into impact, and you can see that that left arm is pretty straight in line with the shaft and the club head at impact. And again, from this front on view, you'll notice how far away that handle is away from my left side. So if I'm trying to rotate and my hand is going out, it goes back to that hand path that we were talking about earlier, is that handle is just moving too far out and away. So using something flat, just feeling at impact. As we're coming into impact, we're releasing that club. The handle is not going to be too far in front. Trying to feel as if we're pulling that handle up and back with that left side, feeling a good impact position there.
We have a little bit of shaft lean, but again, if I measured how much shaft lean he has, it's very minimal. So when he comes through impact, like you said, you're turning the corner, this club just releases right there. We're not holding it off. We're coming through impact. He actually has a little bit of cut by the time this thing gets back to parallel. And we then put a golf bag in there. This is how you can practice it on the range at home. So go ahead, do the same drill.
Yep, so I like to do this here up against a golf bag, a flat surface. We're really focusing on the flat end of the lead side of the shaft here, coming into the side of the bag. So going into impact position, feeling as if that shaft is a little bit more in line, just at the ball to slightly post-impact there, not too far past. So again, just unloading the club as we pivot, and we're seeing, if I start to get my hands too far in front of this golf bag, which you'll see here as I turn it to the side, as we turn this to the side, if I get my hands too far in front of that golf bag, that's too much shaft lean. So we want a natural unloading where the handle, the shaft, and the club head and that lead arm are a little bit more in line there at impact. So again, you can do this up against the door jamb, you can do this up against the ball bag, you can do it up against your golf bag, but I highly recommend, if you're having this issue, do 5 or 10 reps, go to a golf ball and just try to feel that same impact position through the ball, as opposed to trying to really force the hands out into shaft lean position. So
I love it. That's a great drill. Just use your golf bag. You know, if you have something else you can utilize, maybe even an alignment rod, just to have that set in the position you want to be at impact, you can just go to it and try to feel what that's like, and like you said, allow the body to release with it.
Right.
Because if we're just forcing the hands, the body's not doing anything, we're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So we got one more drill for you. This is about your balance in the swing, and I think this will help you throw. You're going to be thrown off a little bit. You're going to become imbalanced, become balanced. All right, so our third and final drill is finding balance. So the first thing is, you're setting up in the heels too much. What I want you to do is make sure we're in the balls of the feet at address. That's going to be number one, so you're going to feel it just in front of the arches here. If I was sitting in my heels, I'd probably feel pretty comfortable right now, but I want you to feel imbalance on the slope. So right here we have a pretty severe slope. Might be tough to see on the camera, but if I was to take a golf ball, drop it, it's going to roll all the way down the hill. So what we're doing, we're going to feel on the balls of the feet. The feeling I want you to have first, let's go ahead and put this club across the shoulders. I want you to feel like you're going to rotate up the slope into your trail side. You might feel a little bit more arch to heel. And on the way through, we're going to feel like we're moving the same way off the ball of the foot up to arch the heel. So I almost feel like I'm working up the slope. Now, as someone who is in balance, if I start in my heels, I'm going to sit in my heels, and from here, I'm going to fall down the slope. So I want you to do this with the club in your hands now. Find that balance. Work up the slope. It almost feels like you're sitting on your hip. On the way down, feeling balance between the toe heels. We're here. Now we're going to work up the slope again. So right there, I actually felt like I was going to fall this way because I'm really pushing my body away from the golf ball. So now one more additional drill. If I had a tee here and I'm working up the slope, it almost feels like you're going to push yourself away from that tee or golf ball. It almost feels like I'm going to push myself so hard up the slope that I'm going to miss to the inside. So first thing, we got to feel balanced. Center balls of the feet, work up the slope, come down, feel balanced, work up the slope. What do you think there, Casey?
I think that's pretty simple drill there to allow yourself to actually feel like you're staying into the slope, staying back away from the golf ball. Again, moving into those toes, that's a killer, which leads to all those things of off balance, early extension coming towards the golf ball. And so you're really feeling like you're falling backwards up a hill, right? That sensation that you had loading back up into the hill. And what you're going to notice in the downswing is how much you have gotten your shoulders back more over the top of down over the top of your feet, as opposed to extending up, moving forward. So staying in posture there, really staying loaded more towards not the heels at address, but really loading into the heel in the backswing, back into the middle of the feet, and then back to the lead heel through the ball, keeping you moving away as opposed to moving into the balls of the feet and towards the ball.
And you're starting balanced. Like Casey said, you're moving to the heel. You really got to feel like you're pushing from the front of that foot back. When you do this, have a golf ball there, have a tee on the ground, and feel like you're going to push away from it. You're pushing your body up that slope. So this is something easy you can do on your range if you have some room where there's a little hill, or even in the backyard. Worst comes to worst, if you don't have those options, take some magazines or books and put them underneath your heels so they're raised up and you feel imbalanced, and get that same feeling you're going to push up those magazines on the left.
Yeah, it's okay to feel like you're falling backwards. You're not hitting a golf ball in this instance. You want to start to get your body comfortable with feeling off balance away from the ball as opposed to feeling off balance moving towards the ball. So making a few swings, getting comfortable with being, like you said, off balance, but away from the ball is totally different than being off balance towards the ball.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this segment of how to stop the shanks, that word that shall not be named. And we hope to see you again here soon. Mike Labella from MLab Golf, Casey Barbie from Denton Country Club. We hope to see you again here soon.